Welcome to another stage analysis video. It's Sunday the 28th of July 2024. Lots to get through on the weekend video as always, but going to start off with some of the weekend watch list stocks and look at what's going on with some of the renewable energy / solar stocks to begin with. So FSLR, the leader in the group at the moment in stage 2 since early April now, as you can see on the daily chart here, starting to break out from the stage 1 structure early April, moving above its 200-day moving average and starting to move through some pivots there, and the earnings reaction started to send it higher with a little bit of increased volume, but then the volume really picked up and accelerated through the later portion of May. It's pulled back down to around the 50 fib level at the moment since the February low area here, so rough sort of zone at the moment, and above the Mansfield relative strength 0 line. If we look at the weekly chart, I haven't zoomed in on these yet. So if we look at the weekly chart here, we can mark the selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test sort of areas, start to draw the base structure through here. You can see the stage 2 breakout area and the backup as it started to move back out again, and that acceleration, the pivot high from early 2023 there, just coming back underneath that currently. So starting to turn back in the short term. Stage analysis technical attributes have dropped off back down to the neutral, now just pipping back into the strong area again. So we dropped from a 7 to a 5 and now back up to a 6 again. As I said, Mansfield relative strength above the 0 line still currently, so still in a reasonably good position, only a 50% pullback since the initial move, so normal behavior in an uptrend move. But if it does start to break down below the bottom of this structure here, then that would be a warning sign, as it would start to go past that normal pullback range. Has got earnings coming up in a couple of days here, so Tuesday after the close, it looks like the 30th at the moment, so it's going to be a major driver for what happens in the group overall. If we actually go through and have a look at the group actual ETF here, so TAN is the solar ETF, Invesco solar ETF. So we did start to form a broader base back here. So what we look for in stage analysis when we're looking for the start of a base structure is the same as the Wyckoff method. We look for initially a change of behavior. So you can see the rallies through this area were fairly shallow until we start to get to this area. We got this change of behavior which turned into what we call a change of character. So you had a selling climax, so an automatic rally, secondary sort of test area. So that's quite a broad structure. So initially you would draw this as a starting point, but it's a huge structure to begin with. So we'd look for some lower points and start to get some other reference points as the base develops. So you can see there was an initial rally here. So if we come back to draw this through this area, you can see the broader structure that's been developing. We had a little bit of a shakeout and spring type event, and then an up thrust, and then it's come back in, and we've had a further spring and a further attempt at a test here. So if it does start to follow through here, so as I said, if FSLR's earnings are positive, then potentially it could send the whole group up through this near-term pivot in the stage 1 structure. We could start to see some of the weaker stocks in the group start to have some short covering and start to come back into the range into stage 1 as well. So you look at some of the other stocks in the group. So first go back to ENPH. So this has been developing in stage 1 for a while now. It's had a few shakeouts, local spring recently and a test, so similar to what we're seeing on the TAN chart there. It's back up through its 200-day moving average, sitting at the near-term pivot. It's been basing through the most of early 2024 here. So we come back to the weekly chart on that, you can see that structure that's been developing through here. So if you take the initial pivots through here, so some undercuts of the range, so the broader structure through here. So at the moment, sitting right at a potential pivot point, just had earnings, so reversal and stronger move on the earnings here. So looking for this to follow through, potentially could start to move towards stage 2. It's risen back up to a stage analysis technical attribute score of a 6 again, so that's the start of the stronger range. So you can see when the stock is in stage 2 type environment here, you can see that the technical attributes are up in the higher scores, a 6 or above, and when it's in a stage 4 decline, as you can see down here, like they tend to be in the lower zone down here. So at the moment we've been chopping around between the neutral and the lower zone, just right at the top of the range here. So we want to see it start to move into this range for it to start to move out into stage 2. So at the moment stage 2 level is around the mid 130s, early 140s area there, and that would see the amount of relative strength start to cross back above the 0 line as well. Come back in. Also, another one from the group is CSIQ. There are a bunch of others as well at the moment. So Run, I highlighted this on one of the weekend posts. If we quickly go to that, already making a stage 2 breakout recently. So just grinding out into early stage 2 at the moment. Go to a weekly chart of this, you can see some local pivots being broken, but right on the borderline at the moment. So from a broader structure through here, so draw your lines. But as I said, there was a big structure to start with, but it has started to break out within that broader structure, and we come back down to the daily. It's well above the 200-day moving average now, breaking above multiple pivots in the near term. So technically starting to move into early stage 2, but was still with some overhead resistance. So we come back to CSIQ here, so a little bit worse off than Run, still in early stage 1 development here, maybe even 4B minus. Let's go to the weekly chart on that quickly. So you can see starting to selling climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, so starting to form an initial base structure through here. So in what we call phase B of the structure, mental relative strength still below the 0 line, which is still declining itself. Technical attributes have been improving into the neutral ranges, so we want to see those continue to improve up into the stronger ranges. We come back to the daily chart here. Then you've got a local pivot point through here just below the $18 level, which if it starts to break up through there, we could see a test of the 200-day moving average. As I said, selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test area, so phase A into phase B of a short-term structure at the moment, so still relatively early in the base building. But if we do see a strong move from leading stocks like FSLR, then that could see this come up and test its 200-day moving average, and could then in theory turn this into a double bottom. We could actually break out into stage 2 earlier. On some of these lagging stocks, you could get a little double bottom breakout instead. So that's one to keep an eye on as well in the group.